On this episode, I'm going to talk to you about personal branding, why it matters, and what you need to know. Welcome to Real Talk. I'm Carlos Skill. This is my all-new series in which I answer your questions on social media and interview interesting guests in the world of business. So in today's episode, I'm going to talk a lot about personal branding. Seems like a lot of the questions that I've received over the last month have been from individuals out there that are either working in a job and looking to grow their personal brand, or they're just getting started in social media and they keep hearing about personal branding and verified pages, and they want to learn how to grow their own personal brand. First, before I get started, I want to say thank you to everyone that left feedback for me on my first 2 episodes. Believe me, guys, sitting in a studio and doing this is a lot more challenging than sitting at my house with an iPhone talking on Snapchat. So once again, thank you to all of you for your feedback as I look to grow the Real Talk brand, and I work with the Nasdaq Entrepreneurial Center here in San Francisco. Really looking forward to interviewing more guests and creating more content to add as much value as I can to all of you out there in the social media ecosystem. So let's get started with the first question.
Hey Carlos, it's Francisco here. Quick question. While you're working full-time for a company, how do you build your brand at the same time, man? I appreciate it.
This is a great question, Francisco. And for starters, guys, make sure you follow my dude Francisco from San Diego. Met Francisco at Social Media Day San Diego a couple months ago. Really stand-up guy that you should follow. So Francisco, to answer your question, building a personal brand is something that you should be looking to leverage in parallel while you grow your own brand within an organization. And the way that you do that is by getting involved in things like Twitter chats, have a blog, contribute. As you gain experience on your job, as you are learning on your job, and as you are showing results in your 8 to 5 day job, be sure that you're documenting these results and that you are talking about it somewhere. Now, granted, you work for either a brand or you work for an agency, so you do have to operate with a certain sense of NDA where you can't disclose everything that you do in your job, but the things that you learn that you think should be of value to others, make sure that you're documenting and you're talking about it and creating content around those experiences. The way that not only myself, but several other thought leaders in the world of social media have grown our brands is by teaching others. So always be looking for ways to teach, but most importantly, still humble yourself to be a student. So after you're done teaching, you can go back to the lab, apply what you learn by listening to myself and others and reading blogs. Make sure that you're applying that in your job, but then you're going back and you're creating content once you start seeing results. In the next question, Karen wants to know, for social media classes that are being taught at schools and specifically universities, what are key takeaways that students should be learning? And the 2, Karen, that I would say are the most critical is 1, social media etiquette. So as you have this next generation of marketers entering the workforce, it's extremely important that they understand things like personal branding, what you should put on your social media accounts, even if it's Snapchat, what you shouldn't be putting on your social media accounts. They need to understand the personal branding element because this is going to be critical as they progress from school into the 8 to 5 traditional workforce life. The second is etiquette pertaining how to approach people. The rock star Generation Z and millennials like Connor Blakely that you saw in my last episode that get it are the ones that are out there hustling, but they also know how to speak when they approach others on social media. So social media etiquette varies from LinkedIn to Twitter to Snapchat, even to Facebook. Teaching students how to communicate, how to write a proper direct message, how to approach someone on social media. It's definitely an art form. And the last thing that they should be taught, and this is more or less for business students looking to leverage social media post-graduation, is social media trends. It's very important that students learn how analytics work and they study analytics to to really comprehend why their company or their startup or their brand should be on Snapchat versus Twitter or on Pinterest versus Instagram. Once they understand trends tied to analytics, that's going to put them in a much better position. Again, post-graduation, they will be able to go to a company and make recommendations on what social networks they should be on because they understand how the data works. And that is real talk. So Joe wants to know, outside of experience, where do I get my information from and how do I create my presentations? To answer your question, Joe, I do a lot of research. I do a lot of reading. I read up on, for example, with Snapchat, what are the key brands that are doing on Snapchat really well? The brands that aren't really doing well on Snapchat, what can I learn from them? And also networking. I network with a lot of peers that work in brand marketing for other companies. So if you are putting together a presentation on whatever topic it might be, make sure that you read up on different brands or different businesses in that space and also go talk to the leaders, for example, in marketing at these companies to learn what are they doing really well and what are they not doing so well, and then create your hypothesis. In terms of presentations, anytime I'm asked to speak at an event, I create an outline that starts off with addressing what are the 3 things that I want my audience to walk away from that session with. I do a lot of public speaking on Snapchat, so I typically will just start off by opening up a Word doc and I'll write what those 3 objectives are, which are to teach the audience how to grow their presence on Snapchat, how to create content on Snapchat, and most importantly, how to monetize and convert that audience into paying customers. Once I've outlined what those 3 main objectives are, at that point, I start to create the flow of my presentation from, hi, my name is Carlos Gill, this is what I do and this is who I am, to why this subject matter is important, and then I get right into the minutia of, here is A, B, and C, how you do this. If you go on stage, or if you're doing a webinar, or if you even have a small group of people in front of you, or if you're in a boardroom, make sure that you are able, in any presentation, make sure that you're able to easily articulate how someone or how a team is able to do what you are speaking to them about. If you cannot easily articulate how they can do their jobs better, or how they can make more money, or how they can do X, then you've completely failed. So Chris has a 2-part question. 1, which is my favorite social network for personal branding? And 2, how can one use Snapchat for personal branding? Well, Krista, to answer the first part of your question, contrary to popular belief, my favorite platform for personal branding is not Snapchat. It is actually Twitter. I've been a big proponent for Twitter ever since I jumped on the platform in the beginning of 2009. And the reason why is because it's open source. So as long as I'm speaking about relevant topics to my audience, anyone who's searching about social media, for example, or anyone who's searching about cooking or about sports, if I'm talking about those topics, my content is going to be able to be seen in search results. Now, to answer the second part of your question, Snapchat can be a very powerful tool for personal branding. Case in point, the reason why I'm sitting in this studio today, speaking to all of you and doing this show, is because all of this started using Snapchat many, many months ago in my house. And with my phone, I would talk to all of you and provide you with social media tips. I didn't like the way that the content came out post-production on YouTube or on social media. So I said, you know what? I need to go in the studio so I can create better looking content. But the case in point that I'm trying to make here is all that started because I knew that there was content I was giving out to my audience on Snapchat that they saw as value. So the first step is knowing who your audience is. And this not only goes for Snapchat, this is for any social network. You have to know who are you speaking to and then create content specifically for them. So in my case, I know that I speak to a professional business audience. I speak to a lot of startups. I speak to a lot of people that are just trying to figure out the game in social media. So I ensure that my content's tailored for them. Believe you me, guys, a lot of people don't want to hear that I'm a big Fetty Wap or hip hop fan. If I were to just talk about Fetty Wap and hip hop all day long on social media, a lot of people would tune out and they would go to the next channel. So think of Snapchat or any form of social media, for that fact of the matter, as your personal broadcast network. Make sure that you're putting out content, though, specifically for the audience in which you are trying to serve. So Stephen wants to know, how does he grow his audience engagement on his Facebook public figure page if he doesn't have the budget to promote and boost his posts? I get asked this question a lot, and Stephen, because I know you and we chatted back and forth on DM, on Facebook, I'm gonna tailor this answer specifically for you. So Steven, guys, is just getting into this business. He's a younger, up-and-coming social media marketing professional, and my advice to you, Steven, is to start with the basics. Start growing your Facebook profile with those in the social media marketing circle. Start getting involved on Twitter, in Twitter chats. Go on LinkedIn, join groups. Put your tentacles, if you will, in as many places as you can where not only you're consuming content, but you're engaging in dialogue with others. That's what people want to see. People nowadays, they're honestly tired of seeing the constant ask, the jab, the right hook of come like my page, come follow me here, come follow me there. If you're already engaging in circles where people have a presence, and Facebook groups is great for this. So I run the social media masterminds group on Facebook. There's several other niche groups on Facebook as well as on LinkedIn. Join these groups. Where I'm going with this is have conversations where people already live. That way you're not asking them to leave where they already are to go over to your page. So once again, Steven, start building your interpersonal relationships, engage in circles where other professionals like you are having conversation, and then as you're learning, start creating content, start teaching others. Have that content live on the home base. Your home base should either be your website or your blog, or it should be your Facebook page. So if you want to go down the route of building a Facebook page, make sure that you have your best content live on that Facebook page, and then you use all of your other social media channels to drive people to that page. But again, don't focus so much on that public figure status where you have to have a Facebook page if you're not yet to the point where you're building out your presence on the other social networks and specifically your personal Facebook account. There you have it. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Real Talk. I am Carlos Gill. I will see